Now we're going to talk about multiples and divisibility. So a multiple, so let's say we want to write the multiples of 3. So we start with 3, and then the next one would be 6, and then 9, and then 12, and then 15. That would be a list, a beginning of the list of multiples of 3. So it's like you're counting by threes. We used to say that as a kid. When I was a kid, we'd play hide and seek and say, okay, everybody hide, I'm going to count to 100 by 5s, or I think we usually said 5s, but something simple to count by. But that's what we mean by multiples. So we're talking 1 times 3, 2 times 3, 3 times 3, 4 times 3. Those would be multiples of 3. Okay, and so we could list the multiples. You're just adding, in that case, 3 each time to get the next number. All right, now we're going to talk about divisibility tests. So there's certain tests that we have to decide if a number is divisible by another number. Now, when we talk about divisibility, we're talking about a number dividing evenly into another number, okay? So let's look at a number. I'll just make an example here, maybe 510. And if I said, do I think that number is divisible by 2? Meaning, do I think 2 will go into that number with no remainder, okay? So that's what we're talking about when we say if something is divisible or it divides another number. We're talking about having it divide into the number with no remainder. All right, so there's tests for some of the digits that we have, numbers that we have. 2, in order for a number to be divisible by 2, it has to be even. So if it's an even number, it's divisible by 2. Now, what's the definition of an even number? It means it ends in an even number. And 0 is considered even, so it ends in either 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. That's what we mean by an even number. An odd number would not be even. It would end in 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9, okay? But if you're going to be divisible by 2, you have to be an even number. So you're looking at the ones. So in this case, you could look at the ones and say, oh, 0 is an even number, so 2 will go into 510 without a remainder. Okay. The divisibility test for 3, that one's kind of a fun one. So you look at 510 and you might say, oh, well, I don't think it's divisible by 3. But you know what? It is, because here's the test. You take the digits, you add the digits of your number, and then if that number, if that total is divisible by 3, then the whole number is. So I didn't know 510 was divisible by 3, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the digits 5 and 1 and 0. I'm adding those up and getting 6, right? 5 plus 1 plus 0 equals 6. So yeah, the whole number is divisible by 3 then. And you could work that out. I don't know how many times it goes in, but it goes in. All right, maybe you want to see that. 3 goes into 510. Here's our old-fashioned division. 1, 3, 21, 170 times. Okay. So that was just a little division there for you, just to prove that 3 does go into 510. All right, now the rule for 5, the number has to end in 5 or 0. 5 or 0. So that number, 510 that we have, that is also divisible by 5, divisible by a lot of things. The test for 6, I don't use this one very often, but if you really want to know if a number is divisible by 6, then it has to be divisible by both 2 and 3, because that's what 6 is, 2 times 3. So it has to follow the rule for 2 and the rule for 3. So it'd have to be even, and you'd also have to add the digits and see if it was divisible by 3. Do we think 6 goes into 510? Yeah, we've already done the test for 2, it passed, and the test for 3, and it passed, so it's divisible by 6 as well. And then finally, the rule for 10, if a number is going to be divisible by 10, it has to end in 0. Okay? Now, there are other divisibility tests for like 7 and 11. They're pretty complicated, but the book doesn't mention them, so I'm not going to read them. Okay, so let's look at an example here. It says, determine whether And now we have this number, 4,962. And they want to know if it's divisible by 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. So let's say 2. It's going to be yes or no. Is it divisible by 2? Yes, because it's an even number. It ends in 2. Is it divisible by 3? Well, it's going to take me a minute to figure that out. I've got to add those digits. So 4 plus 9, that's 13, plus 6 is 19, plus 2 is 21. Let me double check my math here. 10 and 11 is 21. Yeah, so you're getting 21, and that is divisible by 3. And so, yes, the whole number is divisible by 3. Okay. 5, is it divisible by 5? No. It doesn't end in a 5 or 0. 6. Is it divisible by 6? Yeah, because it passed the test for 2 and 3, so yes. And finally, is it divisible by 10? No, it doesn't end in a 0. So that's how we check for divisibility for the digits 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. Handy thing to know sometimes.